Right. So we're live. Finance Friday is back. Martin is here. We'll just give it a couple of minutes to see as people come in. So if you're coming in or viewing this, just give us a comment in the box. Say hi. I can see there's 7 of you here already, which is great. Just pop a message in the comments box to say hi. It's great to have you here. Martin and I were just chatting before we started about trading mindset, so I'm sure he'll have some lessons for you as we get started. So just pop us a message in the box. Let us know you're here. I can see there's plenty of you here. Craig, good to see you. Paul, good to see you. Ali, how are we doing? Good to see you. Matt, Paul, Michael, great to see you all. So we'll get started because I've got a ton of questions. So the way it's going to work is I'm going to fire some questions over to Martin, and then we'll open it up to you guys, and then we'll finish off with a question that I've wanted to ask and have asked other people that we've had on. So let's get cracking straight away, Martin. So you all good?
Yeah.
Good. Great to see you. It's good. Really good that you're here. So
hi, everyone.
First question. I think it's important because I've said on the when I've sent out the emails, I've said you've essentially come as a trader. You came to the UK with no job, but I think it'd be really great if the guys could hear a little bit more about where you were, both as a person and as a trader. So a little bit of your background before you actually joined TSC. That would be really good to hear.
Yeah, so it's an interesting story. It's hard to believe, to be honest, because it's been so long. And someone would have told me actually that I'll be running through all the things I have. I probably wouldn't believe them. But so when I came to the UK, in the beginning it was hard. I came with very little money. And I remember in the first month I was only left with what I had to pay my rent or basically buy myself a ticket to go back. So I decided, I'll pay my rent. I'll do my best to get a job and basically sort things out. So I got lucky. I found a job. I jumped into the uncertainty. I got lucky. And things started working out from that point. But so at one point, my father became interested in trading, and I started becoming more and more interested myself as well. And we say, we have to try this. So he started doing his own thing, and I went on doing my own thing. And I basically started out as probably most people would have, reading on the news and watching free YouTube videos and just following everything that's free. And at one point, it just seems too easy to be real. But I became cocky, and I just thought, I'll put some real money on this and give it a go. So I put about $3,000 in it, started trading, wiped out everything the first month trading on news. I realized that wasn't the way it was going to be. So I said, I'll do more reading. So I went on doing more reading, and I learned all there is about technical analysis and huge amounts of price action and everything. And then I say, I'll just follow the price action and technical analysis, and I'll become a multi-millionaire trader. So I started doing that, and in 2 months, my second account got wiped out. That was a bit unfortunate because the money I loaned. So I had to work double shifts to get it back.
What were you doing?
At that stage,
were you a security guard at the time, weren't you?
No, I was working as a driver for Volkswagen sales department. Then I found out. I say, after the second hit, I decided, that's not how it's gonna be, and I have to find some help. Obviously, I can't do this on my own. It isn't going fundamental, isn't working. Just technicals isn't working. So I need to find what it is there. And I started looking for some class. And one day on my wife's Facebook, a course popped up on my wife's Facebook feed, and she showed that to me, and she asked me, that's not what I'm interested in. And that was your course, the event where I came, and that started the fire. And I signed up, and that was it.
Just so you know, guys, everyone that's listening, Martin was literally front and center of the training room. But what I didn't know at the time is he was just intently listening to everything I said. But he had this look on his face, like he was concentrating. So he's sort of kind of looking like this. And I remember saying to my crew, I was like, it's a guy out the front. He really doesn't look happy. like this, but actually then I find out that you're just concentrating and taking everything in. So I'm really curious to know what drew you to us. So what drew you to TSC? Because bearing in mind you've done, and I can remember when I met you were very, very enthusiastic about trading, and that was, I think, one of the things that I found great is that no matter what you'd done in the past, you know, you'd lost money, you were very enthusiastic, and you've done all this work with technical analysis. But what was it that drew you to us? What was it about what we were saying or doing?
Yeah, to be honest, it was you touching me and not just you, but your group touching me, because I always felt like, let me give you some backstory on that. I always felt trading something for, like, I need to be a different level of person. I need to have better education. I need to know better mathematics. I just need to be better at so many things. And it seemed like a level that's impossible for me to reach. So when I got to that course, I remember the guys sitting in front of me and behind me, they were all some math nerds, and they created some kind of plans where they planned their 15 minutes, their time breaking down 15 minutes slots throughout the whole day. And I felt like, you know, if I'm going to do this alongside these guys, they seem way smarter than I am. And then you came along, and I said, you know what, that guy's now way smarter than I am. Yeah. And then, I thought, if that guy's doing properly, I can do it as well. Because obviously the guys, sitting in front me and behind me, they're not the ones doing properly. That guy's the speaker, he's the one doing properly. So,
I think I remember saying it was like, I'm a C grade student, basically, across the board.
Yeah.
And I can remember saying as well, I don't like it. I don't like some of the things out there that say, well, anyone can do it. Anyone can do it, but you have to understand numbers. You have to be willing to put in the time to learn things that maybe you don't know, but you don't have to have an IQ of 190 to be a good trader. And that's interesting. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And I really liked the story that a lot of the, not just you, but your speakers, they just basically, they all came from different backgrounds. None of them came from finance type of background or high-end mathematics or anything of the sort. So, and it became like a vision of something that, I can do my best for, try for, and see if I can be successful with it.
Cool. What would you say? Well, what did you enjoy? And it says enjoy the most. What did you enjoy? We'll do the most first. What did you enjoy most about the learning process to become essentially consistent? Because one of the things we talk about at TSC all the time, and you do as well, I know when you're working with your guys, is that success really equals consistency, and consistency isn't making 5% a month per month or 10% a month per month. It's consistency regardless of the fluctuation. So what did you enjoy most about getting to the point where you felt consistent as a trader? What was the bit you liked in the journey?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Backtesting, I most definitely did not enjoy as much, but I did my best to do it properly, and I have done it properly. Learning about the technicalities of trading, I think it's mostly about the trading businesses and overall. First, the learning had a very simple to follow process, so that's something I really liked about the learning. It was simple to follow, it was easily achievable for me, and I could be consistent with it. What I also loved about the learning is that we could be using the room and see you doing it live, so we could just get there and do it together alongside you. That one thing I loved. And the trading is an overall, on my path to become a consistent trader. I think it's just by becoming a better trader, more consistent, I became better at everything in my life. Like I became more consistent with everything. And with trading, you learn to deal in a chaotic environment and make something out of it. And I believe that's life for everyone out there. So I just noticed that by becoming a better trader, more consistent and more focused, and learning how to create order in a chaotic environment and uncertainty, and how to deal with risk, I just became a better person in my outside world of trading as well.
So following on from that, for everyone listening, what would you say if you could sum up maybe 2 or 3 things that you do to create that order that is in that area of chaos? Because this is something I talk about in my sessions as well, is this underlying scenario where as soon as you place a trade, the outcome is unknown. Nobody knows. There is nobody out there. So you're moving into a place of uncertainty or chaos. What, say, 3 things do you do to help you deal with that?
First thing I'll say is work out my risk. So know what I'm dealing with, not go all naked and full on. So one mistake can wipe me out. And first, before I take the step, measure my risk, know what I put on the line. Second is create a process that's easily trackable. So I always have a process. Every single thing I do, every single thing I take as a trade, every single trade order I place, trade I record, backtest, whatever it is, I always have a process to follow. So I always know where I'm coming from, what's following, and what I'm looking forward to. And the third thing, I would say, if I fall into an area of where I feel stuck, I look for help. Like, I don't spend hours and hours with we've got a little rule, because I'm working on some stuff on trading with my brother as well, and we built a little rule for ourselves, because we're programming some things together related to trading, and we've got a little rule for ourselves is if we stuck on a problem which is which we can't find a solution for 40 minutes, we ask for help, like whoever it is, wherever we can. But the moment we feel stuck, me or him, we look for help. Whether he's calling me, myself, I'm reaching out to him or someone else. And we've been using that between two of us and with the outside world as well. And that's been helping us a lot. I don't believe a person is capable of doing such a large thing on their own. Even if you take any business out there needs help. Like small companies, they start alongside big companies and they help each other. Big companies, they grow big because of they help each other with small companies. So with trading is no different. You need help, and when you need it, you have to be honest with yourself, admit that you need it, make the next step, adapt, and evolve through help given.
I think I can vouch for when, I mean, it's good 7-8 years ago now, when Martin was in the trading room with me. I don't think there was a session where you didn't have a question. And I think I think if I could reiterate that to everybody here, regardless if you're one of our guys in the trading room. And actually last night I was talking to the guys in my room, Martin, saying that, the accountability and the amount and what you ask and the level of questions, there's no such thing as a stupid question, which is the old adage, but there's still a block for people. I think sometimes it's this feeling of being stupid. And I think it has to be married with the idea that with trading, as you know, there is an infinite amount of possibilities, knowledge, strategies out there. That sometimes asking the question to the person who can give you an answer, they may not be giving you the exact answer to your question, but they guide you in a way that means you're not looking at 50 different things. I think sometimes people come into trading and they're like, oh, there's so much I could be doing, but actually a question can get them guided in a direction. Because I can remember when you came in, there was, I say that you had so much enthusiasm, and it wasn't I wanted to curb that, but I wanted you to focus. And now you're probably one of the most focused individuals I know. It's to the guys listening, it's literally night and day, and that doesn't happen overnight. It's because Martin was very diligent in what he did. Good. What would you say is the most challenging thing you found? Because I know you said you didn't like back testing, but for somebody who doesn't like it, you were knocking out 200 tests a week, 300, 400. It's almost as if because you didn't like it, you had to go and do more of it, which is actually very smart because you're focusing on the area that you need to own. But what would you say you found most challenging going from where you were when you joined TSC to doing what you do now?
I would say finding a balance between my everyday life and trading. That was very challenging, and it took some time to adapt and to work things around, especially with a baby on the way. So that was really hard. The other thing that I still find challenging, but I'm kind of much better managing that, is the constantly evolving environment in the markets. Like, you constantly need to stay on track and you need to be sharp. You can't relax for a moment. And I still remember that thing, on my event where I met you the first time. You know, we did a little meeting with everyone. We met with everyone. We had like a little group of people that we introduced each other, and we had a little chat, and everyone was kind of talking about the same dream of trading on the beach with cocktail in your hand and like chilling out doing nothing. That's so not the reality of it. Like
exactly.
you can afford to do that, which is cool. If you have the opportunity, you can choose to do that, and yes, you can, but that's not going to be your life. Like that's not going to be the life. And to be honest, I've tried it. I got bored to death on the 5th day. So I'm craving to return back.
Yeah,
I always working. Yeah,
I always see these videos on YouTube with a guy who's like he's on the beach, and then he's got his laptop and he looks at it for 3 seconds, shuts it, and then he's got all his money on his trading table. It's like, why would I always think, why would a trader have £20,000 worth of cash on their desk?
Cash to be batched like that, sitting.
They'd have it in their fucking trading account, trading it.
Exactly.
Why do they do these videos with money everywhere? It's just, I've never met a trader. Like, I know traders who've been in the game for 60 years. None of them are ever sitting around counting money on their desk. But that's really interesting. So
I find it funny as well. My wife sometimes finds this funny because I'm so bad with cash. I don't use cash. Everything I buy is like I use cards, credit cards for everything. And so much struggle to find cash anytime I need, and my wife always finds it extremely funny how I trade with currency, but I always struggle to find cash. Because I always need to run to a cash point, and where it's the countryside, I need to drive like 20 kilometers to go to a cash point. And
you don't. I have the one where I'll tell people what I do, and they'll say, oh, what's Euro Aussie trading at, and I'm like, I know every price of every currency pair that is listed.
Exactly.
I think that's a really, really good point, is that what you were saying about the kind of sitting on the beach, because I think the people that I've worked with like you that get there, they're the type of people that things change. So for instance, I swing trade, I don't day trade. I'm not as hungry to be in front of my screens. But as I was saying to my guys in the room, conditions are changing, because you made that point a minute ago about market conditions. Conditions are very different than they were 7-8 years ago. And you've got to be able to, it doesn't stay linear. So even though you might have a strategy that's worked for 5 years, you might have to tweak that strategy 5 years down the line. Would you agree?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Good. So I think that's a really good take home. Yes.
Yeah. Can I just touch based on the first point I made, finding a balance between this business and family life? I just want to mention a couple of things. Is that the toughest thing for me was to find a balance in terms of time, because I was kind of splitting myself, because I wanted to make trading really work, and I also wanted to make it work so I can spend more time with my family. So it was really hard to find this balance. So I realized, you know what, I cannot let my family suffer because of my trading. So what I need to do is I have to be the one who makes the sacrifice. So some days, if I have to, I'll sleep less. Some days I'm not gonna go out with my mates in the pub. Like I will start giving things away so I can make both things work for a better future. Yeah,
like that. And that's it. And one of the things I think that what happens as well is, I think over the short term, some people have almost a subconscious reward mechanism. So they go, well, I've put in 40 hours this week on my trading. I can remember we met up for lunch that time in London with the team, and you'd been up, I think 3 nights straight with like 2 hours sleep each night, because you wanted to get a chunk of back testing done. I can remember you looked like you've been, you hadn't gone to sleep. Well, you hadn't literally gone to sleep for 3 days.
Yeah.
But I think some people make the mistake that because they've done that, the market should reward them that week or that month with money. And to the guys and girls listening, I don't know if that's something that you've experienced, where you almost without realizing it go, well, I've put in all this hard work. Why am I not getting winning trades right now? But the market is not directly correlated in the short term to your hard work. But in the same breath, I think what I'm saying is, you see people that want to sit on the beach and sip cocktails, and then you see people working really hard. But actually, the balance is somewhere in the middle.
Exactly.
you have to be able to think long term and work short term. So I think that's a really, really interesting point. Good. Well, got plenty more questions, and we will open it up to you guys that are here. So don't worry, all of you here will get the chance to ask Martin the question. I've had some sent in already, which we've got listed, but you'll get that chance. So next one. So what are you currently doing? Where do you currently live? What does your average trading day or day look like?
Yeah, so I currently live in Germany. I live in the mountains in the countryside, far away from the town in polluted air. I'm loving the green. I'm loving the place where I live. I'm enjoying every single moment of it. My usual day trading, it's not something sophisticated. I would wake up early in the morning about 5:30 a.m. I would do a morning meditation that takes me about 10-15 minutes. So that's something to just clear my mind. I usually do work like a little training session. So because when I do, for example, I'll do push-ups or pull-ups or something like that, or I'll jumps or some exercise like that, just to get the metabolism going. If that makes sense.
Got you.
Wake me up. Yeah. Some days I'll go out on the balcony and just enjoy the view because it's so nice to miss. Yeah. And I start trading I start looking at the charts about 6:30, and I move away at 8. So 8 is when I don't have time for trading, because then I start my German classes, German language classes. Yeah. And I'm really became like a maniac into learning this language properly. So I'm fully focused on that, and I leave my trading on the side. And everything is pre-set up. So if something happens that I need to take action towards it's automated, and I don't need to do much. But if I have to do anything, I'll have notifications pop up, so I can take action as quickly as possible. But that rarely happens. And then I'll return in the afternoon after my course finishes. I'll spend the rest of the day with either my family or just spend a few hours with my family, then sit down and work towards. I've got a huge list of things and ideas I'm working on with my trading, so just do a bit of work on that, and then spend the rest of the day doing what I love to do with my family and shooting my bow and going out in nature.
Like I love it.
Yeah.
A bit more specifically, what would you say that you're maybe in a bit more detail on what and how you're currently trading? So you mentioned there about you don't really have to intervene. So are you using a lot of robots, a lot of automated trading with what you're doing?
Yeah, so I've been into mechanical type of trading, algorithmic, high frequency type of trading for many years now. I think about 5-6 years now. And those are all programs I've built myself with the help of my brother, who's a brilliant programmer. And those have been split over 5 different accounts, and they're trading different currency pairs. I only trade currency pairs because they have the most volume and they have the most, basically that is the most volume. So I need a market that's big enough to move, but I want it to be also big enough to not move a lot, if that makes sense. Yeah. And I wanted also to, the idea behind why I'm doing this just on Forex, because Forex is the biggest market in the world, and it has so much different factors, so much volume, that it's really hard for price, for example, gap, if that makes sense, or slip. That happens as well, but if you go on a market it's more, and that's going to happen way more often. Yeah. And basically, I also the bigger the system is, the more balanced it is. And my mechanical systems are based on finding an opportunity, the edge within that balance. So finding opportunity where things go out of balance and when they go back into balance. And so I'm running that on 5 different accounts with my mechanical strategies. And I also, for that 1 hour morning, I do discretional trading. So that will be a breakout strategy, a pullback strategy, and a little interesting reversal hedging type of day trading strategy. So we don't spend a lot of time on doing the scan for that. We usually do the scan in the morning with my group together in the first 15, maximum 20 minutes. Then we set a clear plan on what we need to do within the next 40 minutes. And we spend the time, talking about different subjects or covering, like me giving feedback on their work, or
So essentially, what you're saying is, well, I suppose the question I want to ask is, do you like doing both discretionary and using all your systems? Do you like doing both? Do you favor one over the other, or?
Yeah, I do favor one over the other. I became really passionate about automated strategies at one point decided when I started having more money in my trading account, and I say, you know what, that things become real. Like, what happens with my trading business if I go blind tomorrow? Like, is my wife back to work? My daughter? Like, what happens with them? So I felt like I need to find a way how to automate all that. And then I looked into programming. I had no background in programming. I still have no background in programming. And I spoke with my brother who's been into this business for a couple of years, and he said, you know what, I haven't done it before, but we'll teach ourselves how to do it. And we started learning and building programming little bits, and little by little, we became brilliant with this. And now we've got huge programs placing enormous amounts of trades. We're talking about per month, tens of thousands of trades. If that makes sense. So
good. So this is, I think for the guys, this is a really important contextual thing, because it's very easy for somebody listening to go, right, okay, well, Martin's obviously doing really well. I'm going to go and I'm going to go and do that. But I think it's very important that Martin's, and it's that old word that gets used, like been through a journey, but you have been through a journey. You didn't wake up and go, right, I'm going to run multiple automated systems with what I'm doing. You worked your way to that point. And I see this a lot. I see people going almost to that step without getting everything else in place before they get there. Because even though you might be using inverse risk to rewards on 5 different markets with a hedging strategy, and to some traders that seems complex, it's still based around the fundamentals of risk management, analysis, and everything that we do. So I mean, I'm doing more automated stuff now as well. Kerry's doing more automated stuff. But it's really important for the guys listening that you don't jump to something like that. You know, as Martin said, he's not got a university degree. I'm a C grade student, but I think the key learning there is he was the one that didn't do the program, but I bet you did the testing for it.
Yeah, I did the testing for it. And you know, you were right what you said about testing. I've never really truly enjoyed back testing, but I loved it, and I still love it because I see the potential by doing it. I just see how much it gives me a huge part of trading, my trading businesses. So I cannot do my trading without back testing.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point, because you're sitting there, I'm swing trading with discretion, and like you're doing a little bit of discretion. You're doing this very different way of trading. Kerry's trading one market, but if you asked us, all of us are testing what it is we do. So it's a common theme, and this is what I mean about making sure these fundamental things are in place. Great, good answer.
Yeah.
So, I know you don't have to go into detail, because obviously what you're doing is your thing. But what are you currently working on, and what plans have you got for the future, as it were?
Yeah, so my plans are huge. I want to be a multi-millionaire trader, and I'm getting there slowly. I want to build the first goal that I'm slowly working towards. I want to build an artificial intelligence in the trades. I've designed a plan how to do it. I know exactly how I'm going to do it. I just don't have the time to do it right now. So what I need to do is, first I need to get my brother out of work, and then we sit together and build this beast.
Brilliant. Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, that's what I'm gonna do in the further future. Right now, brilliant. I'm just improving my strategies. I see more and more opportunities. The more I trade them, the more I see potential in how they could improve. And I just spend my time working on those, and it gets great. There slowly. And
I think there's a really good point you bring up there for the guys listening, is that notice that Martin said he's working on and improving his strategies. I think sometimes what people do is they come into trading, they back test a strategy, and then they kind of think, well, I'm done now, and then they go and trade it, and they're not improving it. But on the same breath, you're improving what you're already doing. You're not jumping around doing 1,000,001 different things. So you've got a plan for the future, but you're chipping away at it. And I think it comes back to that idea of patience. You are constantly tweaking, but you've got to be patient with what you're doing.
And I think, to be honest with you, in the beginning when I started, I was so focused on that distant future of me being a successful full-time trader, trading with so much money I can spend. But I'm ending up realizing that that wasn't a dream. That was an expectation based on false advertising, and watching too much YouTube stuff that I shouldn't have.
Yeah.
It's in reality, I am doing what I do. I may not do it with as much as I would want. Like, I don't have the millions that I have in my mind to trade with, but I'm at a decent point where I have the freedom to make a choice of whether I'll trade or not. And I just have the time to do more things that I love. So I have lots of hobbies. I love to spend time with my children, and I've always done it for them, if that makes sense. And I'm now at that point, and I understand that I am actually living the dream right now, and I may be having a bigger goal, but I'm living at the ultimate goal right now. Yeah. And I think this is important for everyone to understand, because life is not that long, and nobody knows how long they have lived. So you have to learn to live in the moment, and that's what I'm doing.
Good on you. Yeah, we certainly, after the year most people have had, and I've had we had a similar thing go on here. It does make you reflect, and there's nothing wrong with chasing the cash, and in a way, it'll always never be quite enough. It's a bit like a trade. You get out at your target, and the trade runs on. It's all, you could have made a bit more. I think there's nothing wrong with that being there, but if you live or define yourself, I think that's really good. And plus, where you're living, it's there's a big incentive to be outside and enjoying it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Good. I know, obviously, you coach our morning day traders. So Martin works for 1 hour a day with the guys who are on our Total Trader program. They've access to me, they have access to Kerry, but these are the guys and girls that want to day trade but haven't got the time during the day. So some of you might be in that boat where you want to day trade, but you don't want to sit in front of your screens all day, or you simply can't because you're in a job. So Martin works specifically with the guys that want to trade for that hour period, and has been doing a very successful job with these guys. And he's taken them through big upward returns, drawdowns, and he sees the psychology of people coming in at different times. So I wanted to ask you, Martin, from a coaching perspective, if there was one thing, what do you think traders need to spend more time doing? Now, obviously, it's not as simple as one thing, because each individual trader, but if you could kind of encompass maybe one or two things that traders should be doing more of. And I think I know what the answer is going to be. But
we talk from you anyway. We always have this conversation, whenever we meet, we always talk about the same thing. They need to own it. That's what it is. Brilliant. They need to spend more time owning it. You have to approach that as you're the driver. You cannot you can copy other people. That's okay, but you have to own it. The same way I've done it. I've learned how to trade from you, but I don't trade like you, because I'm a different person. I have different goals. I want to get to where you are, but I want to get there my way, not your way. And I can never get there your way, if that makes sense. So I have to do the things the way I see them, and I understand them. You cannot be, you have to own it. Trading is not about making money. It's about doing what you can and being the best at it, if that makes sense.
Totally. Yeah. And I think that's, and the guys can take, I think if you took nothing else from today, that would be it. Because, I might be aiming and owning the strategies that I can make 50, 60%, doing that on multiple 6-figure accounts, even a 7-figure account. Kerry might do 200% on a much smaller £5,000 account. She's doing it her way. Martin, you're doing it your way. You're using your systems and your processes. Now, again, underlying that is a core system. And I think that's something that I pride myself, and what you do with your guys and what Kerry does is that that's the big thing that we encourage at any level, is that take what we teach you. Don't just get rid of it, but make sure that at some point you're owning it. And that's what we do with all the guys in the room. I say, look, how many of you want to day trade? Because if you want to, but you might not have the time, then working with you can be that. But everything, ownership. Good. Love it. Don't think there's any point going any further than that. That's something.
And another thing I just want to mention is that don't fall into challenge your own beliefs. That one thing I know you also only asked me for one thing, but I will
It's
add
never
that
one.
one.
I know.
Yeah, it's never one. Like, challenge your own beliefs. Nothing. You're operating your business, operating the world's biggest market. Like, nothing is impossible. If you think it's possible, like, make it work. Find a way how to make it work. I still remember like a guy on a Forex event that told me you have to have like 1 to 10 reward to risk ratio in order to win more trades. And I felt like, you know what, that's like so wrong. Or, you know, like things like that. Your stop losses needs to be 500 points or more, otherwise they'll get reached too soon, or, you know, things like that. And yeah, so you have to challenge it. Wherever is you read, even what we tell you, you have to challenge it, run it through your own understanding, and make sure it makes sense to you and works for you. Yeah.
I always know when a student's done with me is they ask me something. They might say, "What do you think about Euro Aussie?" And I'll say this, this, and this, and then they say, "I take that on board, Ali, but my data says this." So
yeah,
I'm
I love it.
And I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
because now they've taken ownership. Now that
Exactly.
yeah, and challenge it. Exactly. There's and any training company out there that says our way is the only way, I always say to anyone, run a mile, because there is no one way to do this, and we're living proof of that. So that's great. Brilliant. So from the counter side, what do you think traders need to spend less time doing?
I think they need to spend less time reading about it and dreaming about it, and more time doing it. So you never get stuff done by thinking about them. And that idea of having positive thoughts and becoming the person who you want to be, that's okay if you're not living on this planet, in my opinion. Like, you have to take action. Yeah, thinking positive will get you only that far. You have to,
Do you think a lot of people learn because there's so much information out there? Or do you think, because I sometimes say to my guys, be careful of substituting the fear you have of the uncontrollable environment with more information.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's worse off, because trading, the market changes every moment, and there are so many lessons and things that you can take out of it, but you have to learn from your own experience and from the mistakes of others. Even if you look at the trading books out there, how many books have you seen that are written? For example, you see a heading of the type of what I've learned losing my first trading account. There isn't a single one. Every book tells you how to become a millionaire trader, what did the millionaire traders did, and there are some 80-year-old dudes that traded like 40 years ago, if that makes sense. So you cannot just learn from the successes. You have to learn from the errors as well. So explore the errors and make the most out of it, and be careful, extremely careful with the information, because the more information you have, the more confusing it's going to be in your mind. And in reality, trading, I've told you that before, is a trap for intelligent people. So
that's a very good point.
Yeah, trading, is trap for intelligent people. And why is it a trap? Because they think, I'm smart, I can make this work, I'm good at math or whatever, finance, I've got this and that education. And they come into the information trap, and they start reading and follow and repeat and change, and not being consistent and taking the wrong lessons out of it. And that's what makes a trap.
I like that.
Yeah.
So I think for the guys that it's a trap for the intelligent people. And I always say trading is a performance-based skill, not a knowledge-based. You don't become a trader by what you know. You can't know nothing, but it's about how you perform. And that's to do with the knowledge that you have about your information. That's great. Brilliant. I love that. Let's have a look. I've got questions from people who've sent these in. So guys listening up, we're going to come to you very shortly. So think about a question you'd like to ask Martin. But Miles has sent in this: how many strategies are you running at once? Now, I know this will be really interesting because I know how you're trading, and I think I'm going to give some frame and context to this with what I do. But how many strategies would you be running anytime?
Discretional strategies is free at any one time.
Brilliant.
Mechanical strategies, I'm running quite a bit of them. So I'm running 6 of them.
I thought you were going to say more than that. 6. Okay, the key point for everyone listening is that the strategies that you are directly involved in, by discretionary, you mean you're watching, you're deciding, free. which is very
Yeah,
interesting. Because I'm, as a discretionary trader, using automated entries and some robots, I'm on 3. Even though Kerry's got access to 12, she's probably only trading 3. So that's a really interesting point. And then I thought you'd be trading more, but it's 6 on your mechanicals, is it?
Yeah, it's 6 strategies, but they run a different way. So one strategy could be trading at different ranges. It could be trading different conditions. And one strategy would not mean one trade. One strategy could mean 1,000 trades in a day. That makes sense.
Yeah. So a very specific approach. Good. So here, Conrad, I think Conrad's actually here. What were the markers you had that made you realize or know you were ready to go full time? Now, this is a really interesting question. So what were the markers, both in your trading, in you, that made you realize or know you were ready to go full time?
Yeah, that was a tough one. I remember being in that room session, and the day before I made like my monthly salary, and 50% on top of that, 1.5 times my monthly salary. And I came to that room session and said, you know what, I'm ready to go full time.
I know, I'm smiling.
You know, mate, better, stay down, sit on your hands, and keep doing it.
I was like, not just yet. Yeah,
not just yet. And I remember that echoing in my ear over and over and over. And at one point, I just thought, I was fearful in the beginning to leave my job and just go full time for it. But then I had a chat with you as well about it, and I don't know, you just feel it. I mean, you feel you've been doing this consistently enough, and it's something you feel. I can't really explain. It's not a specific one single thing. It's something I've built over time and experience. And the only marker I know, and that's something you've told me, is I've made more money from my trading consistently than what I had as expenses. So that was a clear marker. I had to go to, and you told me to follow that. And I've designed a system which I followed, and I'm still following today, where I learned from you that I had to how to manage the resources in my trading account and my daily expenses, basically. So I've designed this system, and I started making way more than my monthly expenses. So let's say I would be left with more than half of what my monthly expenses were. And then I decided, I'll give it a go. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. I work on something similar with people. As I say, imagine, you need a minimum of say 3-6 months set aside, and then you need to imagine the worst possible run that your strategies had, or the strategies you trade had, and would you still be able to keep going? So really, I think I can remember when you came in, I said, you want to be easily making what you make in a month. Because as a trader, the last thing you want to do is on the 28th of the month be trading to pay your rent. You don't want to be in that position. But again, there's no perfect time. You don't want to wait. If you wait too long and you accrue too much money, well, you could be missing out on a huge amount of opportunity. So it's a balance. But that's good. Really good question.
Yeah. Another thing I want to add to that quickly is that you want to reach ideally to the point where money becomes a resource to make you more money, not to pay for stuff. Because most people think as money as a resource to pay the bills, buy a new car, take the kids to the swimming pool, like wherever it is. Where I started looking at them through my experience with trading as a resource to make more money, and that was also a marker that got me to realize, you know what, now I've got enough resources to move on and do that full time.
I love that. Yeah. And it's just a resource to make more money. And that changes. Ironically, before I traded, when I was more in debt and I had less money, I spent more money because I didn't have the skill to turn £1 into 2. Once you have that, I'm still a spender. I like spending money, but it's harder to part with money when you see it as a resource, because you can see, if I can turn £1 into 2, why would I go and spend it over here? And I think that's a very, very good point. I think everyone should really take that on board. See money as a resource. Brilliant. And then, Stuart, if you could only trade one strategy, what would it be? I mean, that's quite tough because let's say one concept. If there was one way of trading.
If I can trade only one strategy, what would it be? That would mean I'll be dead and my family will take on my trading business. And that will be the mechanical strategies, the fully automated systems.
Yeah. So Yeah. So if you were going to do the two, which I think we touched on earlier, are you saying you would go with the mechanical over the discretionary? Yeah.
I'll go with the mechanical or discretionary because it's something easily replicable by my family members, and it's something I don't need to be healthy and alive to be running it, if that makes sense. And it's not that it has a better it makes more money than the other strategies. Obviously it does right now because I trade with more money than the other strategies. That's how I split the account sizes, and I've built my trading system as a whole. But it's more like it's a risk from a risk point of view. It's better because my risk per trade on those systems is less than 0.0001% per trade, and the drawdowns are not big at all. So it's very easy for someone who doesn't have trading experience to replicate that.
Got you. Yeah. But the frequency of trades, which is what I talk about all the time, the sort of triad of frequency, risk to reward, win loss. So your risk is very low, but your trade frequency on those is very high, I'm assuming.
Exactly. Yeah.
Good. Love it. And from Norman, like this one, what are 4 things aspiring traders, and Norman's actually in our Kickstart at the moment, so this is brilliant. This is great. He's asking this. What 4 things aspiring traders should do to become professional traders? So if you could say 4 things, what should it be?
Right, that's a great question, Norman. Thanks for asking that. So I think number 1 will be believe in yourself that you can do it. You always jump with that. Think of your training. We had this chat with the guys in the room this morning. Think of this as your child. Like, you could be reading a ton of books before having a child, and until you have your first one, you never know what it is. And the moment you see that little creature, you have no idea what to do with it, but you just do your best, and every day you get better. And sometimes you're not as good, and things happen, and life happens, but you always find a way, you always adapt. So, and that all comes from your belief that you will be your best to care for this little creature. So that will be as well with trading. You've got this other little creature that you've got no idea how you're going to deal with it, and how huge it will end up being, how much it's going to eat from your pocket to get there. But you have to believe in yourself that you're completely capable of doing it, regardless of what you have to go over. Number 2 will be focus on risk management. Like I gave you the story. First account I wiped out following the fundamentals, second following the technicals. It's never the fundamentals or the technicals that's going to get you there, but risk alone is going to allow you the opportunity to survive through big drawdowns, to learn the lessons so you can improve and learn how to deal with it. So first, focus on risk, manage your risk, keep it low, be aware of your overall risk exposure and how much money you put on it. Number 3 will be do it. Like, don't read about it, don't come to our sessions or to someone else's sessions and just listen about other people doing it, but do it, learn by doing it. Like, doesn't matter how much money you have, open some trading account. You could be able to place even a trade a day, doesn't matter, but you're building experience, you're placing that trade, you're learning the platform, you're gaining knowledge of all the whole process of how it works. So learn by doing it, don't learn by reading about it or hearing about it. And number 4 will be have a clearly executable plan. Like, be very clear on your process. Like, what do you do when you sit to trade? What you're gonna do when a trade comes your way? How you're going to double check if the trade that comes your way is actually the trade that you're supposed to take. Like, be very clear on your process, on your rules, know exactly what to do at any one time.
Amazing. Yeah, I love number 4, the plan, because we say a trade should land in your lap. So 4 great ones there. Thank you. Now, I'll come back to my last question, but I know there's a few people putting questions in here, so that's great. So firstly, from Matt. Thank you, Matt. I have found that my trading skill has plateaued between beginner and intermediate skill set. Okay, well, I can feel an answer coming on straight away from just that bit. What have you done to improve your skill set when it seems like progress has stopped and you're not improving anymore?
Yeah, that's a brilliant question.
Brilliant question.
It's kind of it's a brilliant question, but it's kind of tough to answer this one. I'm gonna go a little bit more broadly on that one. So, in trading as well as in life and in any other business, everything is in constant motion. The whole universe is in constant motion. So you are as well in constant motion. But usually, what happens when you feel stuck and you're not moving, you're not in motion, you're actually moving backwards. So if you feel stuck, as I said, you should ask for help. Like, go find someone who does it successfully, ask for help, let them review your work. Sometimes have you all noticed how easier it is in a certain situation to give advice to someone else, but if you find yourself in the same situation, it's hard to come to with the solution. That will be the same with our in this case. Like, if you feel stuck, obviously you cannot come up with a solution. Don't waste time going all over and about it. Like, ask for help, admit to yourself and to your surroundings that you need help, and ask for help. So that will be one thing. The other thing will be, if you understand that you're never stuck. Like, I don't know how to explain that. You're either moving forward or you're moving backwards. You're never stuck in one spot. So if you feel stuck, you probably are you're overthinking it too much, or you don't admit to yourself that you're moving backwards, and that's why you say you feel stuck. That's what I would say. Like, usually when I felt myself being stuck, I would be going backwards. I would realize it and see it. I would fail to admit it to myself and to my surroundings, and fail to ask for help, because look at me, how big of a trader I am. Why would I ask for help? If that makes sense. Yeah.
That's a great answer.
But everyone needs help. I need help, and sometimes I speak with Ali about trading. Sometimes he does with me, and that's why it's such a great to be part of a team. So you can share your experience and you can learn from the mistakes and errors of the others. And the most important thing I would say from being part of the team is that you have the opportunity to learn not only from the successes but from the errors of other traders, which is, in my opinion, way more valuable than anything else.
I love that. I think, following on from what Martin said there, Matt, there's two things that I would look at. The first one would be, I think this is in line with what you're saying, Martin, is you can't solve the level of the paradox at the level of the paradox. You've got to, like you said, ask for help, or you've got to think in a way or act in a way that you probably haven't been doing. Because if you feel stuck, you're like you said, you're either going backwards or you're going forward. So it's a feeling of stuck. And I would also ask, Matt, what are you assessing that on? So you said, I'm stuck between beginner and intermediate. As a coach, I'd be saying to you, what do you define as beginner and what do you define as intermediate? Because you might not be stuck at all. You might just be moving in between the two. Is it your own skill set? Is it your ability to stick to your trades? Is it your results? Because you might be moving in the right direction, but your results might be at a plateau. But that doesn't necessarily mean your skill set is at a plateau. And that links into what Martin was saying about asking for help. Because sometimes, very often, it's difficult for you because you just go around and you feel like you're going around in circles, when actually it just needs somebody to guide you in a slightly different direction. So great answers there, Martin.
I just want to add something quickly. There are a lot of traders, new traders, including myself, and I'm sure you as well, Ale. In the beginning, when they start trading at first, they'll either make tons of money by luck or they'll lose tons of money by luck. But then what happens is, if they're dead serious about it, they start learning. When they start learning, their account kind of course. They make some, lose some, make some, lose some. And that's exactly where they feel stuck. If that makes sense. But that's just part of the learning. You have to go through that. You have to just...
And I think that's often actually the stimulus for the growth, if you ask the right questions. So a great question to ask is, what is it that I'm currently disowning that if I did more of, or if there's something that I'm doing too much of that if I stop doing that, could improve my trading, which is in line with what you're saying. And that's where a coach comes in. So Peter has asked, let me pop this one on. So Peter has asked, at what risk you trade in the beginning, and how did you increase it? Well, there's a big assumption there that you were increasing your risk. I think it's probably the opposite, but I'll let you answer that, Martin. Yeah,
it's actually the opposite of what Alice said there. So with time and experience, I started decreasing my risk. I started 1% a trade. I've never traded with more than 1% a trade. I've done some experiments. I've went above, like I mean, for the time when I started doing it properly with Trade Support Lab, started following a process. Before that, I was doing crazy things. That's why I got wiped out twice in a row. But when I started doing it properly, following the process, I never risked more than 1% of trade. And with time, I realized I wanted to do more of what I'm doing. But if I'm going to do more of what I'm doing, I need to reduce my overall risk exposure. So with time and experience, and as I started basically increasing my trade frequency, my risk started reducing as well.
Yeah. So it comes back to what we teach, which is the three variables around risk management. Obviously, there are rules, but the three variables that you're always measuring is win-loss ratio, risk to reward, and trade frequency. So I think the thing to note there, which is off the back of your question, Peter, to everybody else, is that as Martin's trade frequency went up, his risk per trade went down. Otherwise, it's very easy. Now, there's a balance to that. So some strategies that we run at a swing level, you may continue running a 1% risk, even if you increase your trade frequency, because overall you look at the drawdowns. But if you're doing something like Martin was doing, where you're going into trading, you're increasing your trade frequency exponentially, it doesn't matter how accurate your strategy is. It only takes a short period of time, I assume, Martin, where it could blow up. So you have to therefore adjust your risk per trade.
Yeah, so what I do is I don't increase risk, I increase the pot size. And pot size means, because you get different terms and conditions with different brokers, so I know very well terms and conditions with my broker, I know what protection I've got on my account. So what I do is I increase the account size, but not increase my risk. So I increase the overall pot size, but I don't increase my risk, and I increase the trade frequency by increasing the pot size as well.
Yeah, love it. Good. Barry. Great content, guys. My question is, in the early days, what did you do on the day when you didn't feel like backtesting, or perhaps lost belief that you could do it and felt easier to watch cat videos on YouTube?
Yeah, good question.
You having a bad day today, Barry? Maybe. I don't know. It's a great question, and that's why we're here.
Yeah, I still like cat videos on YouTube. Backtesting, I never doubted myself if I could do it or not. It was just, there's a clear process to it. And if there is something that I can teach myself how to do, or learn how to do and follow a process, I don't doubt myself if I'm going to do it or not. If that makes sense. Even becoming an astronaut, there is a process to becoming an astronaut and going up in space. So I don't doubt any of that. What I do, however, where I have my down days is I asking the question, how much of that I need to do. That's basically where,
Brilliant.
And I realized, I need to go with the law of large numbers. Like, I need to prove that my edge stays consistent, and I need to prove that it operates and it's consistent in different market conditions. So I don't only say, I'm going to test last year from January to December and I'll be done. I tell to myself, where is my strategy? Where does it set up? In what market conditions it works? In what market conditions it doesn't work? So I go and test the specific market conditions that works, and go and test the specific market conditions that doesn't work, regardless of how much testing I need to do. So I can get the exact data I need. So I can take the next step towards trading the strategy. So there is a process to it. And I personally never doubt myself I can do it. And I think you guys, all of you who are listening here, you should never doubt yourself if you can do it or not. There is a process. You can teach yourself to do it. So it's something you can doubt.
And I think I'm going to add to that, because it's the process is what gets you there, Barry. Because I have days where I don't want to do a room session. I'm sat in the kitchen. I don't want to do a room session today. But if I relied on my motivation, or I don't want to backtest today. So for me, I'm relying on a process that I go through. And I think the other thing is momentum with backtesting. So for some people, that might be locking themselves away for a weekend, or doing what Martin did, three nights straight with no sleep or whatever. For some other people, it's doing 3 a day. So look at one way isn't better than another. So some people might hear Martin think, I couldn't do that. I backtest 3 nights straight. We don't necessarily have to do that. Martin might do that and then not do any backtesting for 6 weeks, because he's got an idea and he's running it. Whereas other people, I'm more, if I do 3 a day, I'm more like, I'll keep to that. So try and make backtesting or anything that you do as part of your process, which is exactly what Martin said. Make it as easy as any other process you have in your life. You don't clean your teeth on Monday to stop tooth decay on Tuesday. You clean your teeth on Monday every day so that you prevent tooth decay 50 years, 20 years down the line or whatever it is. You do it. It's simple. It's easy, and you don't think about it. And I think that is what you have to do with part of your trading. So I wake up in the morning, and it's almost by default, I find myself in front of my screens scanning for my trades. And I don't make it hard to do. I make the habit easy. And then there'll be spells where I'll knuckle down because I've got an idea, like you, Mark. I've got an idea and I can't get rid of it. So that might be where I burn the midnight oil. Does that make sense, Barry? So yeah, process is the way to do it. Don't let your own ups and downs affect it. And also, as Martin said, get some momentum. Don't doubt yourself. If you don't know how to do something, just find somebody who does. Yeah, guys, has anyone got any other questions for Martin? Anybody got anything they want to ask, or is there anything that I've missed on the comments? It's great to see so many of you here. Anyone want to ask something before we come to my last question? So we'll just give it a minute because it can. I think we've got 3 streams going on. So we've got 4 streams going on. So sometimes it takes a minute or 2 for the questions to come through.
Okay.
So if you've enjoyed today, before we finish anyway, if you enjoyed today, give us a like or give us a share. Definitely do that. And then the more people we get coming, to the sessions, the more people we can get on. So you just wanted to say you've really enjoyed it. Just to say thank you, very inspiring. That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Accountability, Barry. Yeah, well, you know where we are. Great insights. Thank you, Paul. Brilliant. So I have one more question, and if any come in, we'll do this, but I always like asking this. So with the benefit of hindsight, now I know that doesn't mean a lot when you're trading, but looking back now, Martin, what one piece of advice would you give your former self knowing what you know now?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I never thought about that, to be honest with you. Let me think. I would say have less expectations, if that makes sense. Like take what the market gives you, take the lessons learned by trial and error, and just don't expect to quit your job or buy yourself a new Lambo next month or next year, whatever it is. Have less expectation. Just this is a business with unlimited potential, and it can grow. There is no limit to how big you can grow it to. And have less expectations was hurting people. And over the past, through my experience with trading, expectations was hurted me as well. And that'll be the thing. Don't have expectations. Just go full on with it. Know that you'll be your best at it. And just try and be better every single day without expecting anything in return. Just enjoy the process.
Love it. And I'd like to add to that, guys, that if there was one person that that's been through the TSC system that exemplifies that, or one of the people, Martin would be up there with the best of them, because he's not only been able to look at trading and make it realistic, because when he first started out, he was very much wanting that million in 5 minutes. He's been able to lower his expectations, but that hasn't impacted the level of effort, commitment, passion and desire that he's had, not only for his own trading, but the guys he works with, that he gives up his time for 1 hour a day in the morning. So not only a big thank you for everything you've done for TSC, Martin, but a big thank you for today. I hope you've enjoyed it, guys. And we'll at some other point, we'll get Martin on again in the future. So thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much, Martin.
Thank you.
All the best, everyone.
Bye.